Good morning, everyone. It is May the 23rd, 2025. Today I'm going to continue on the theme of what the past several videos on the therapy dogs and the service dogs was, and go into more detail as well as talking about the new recruits. So I'm first going to say that on the theme that I'm talking about is on the therapy dogs. Now I'm going to talk first about, now a long time ago, last year, I mentioned that the Ottawa Police had got a therapy dog named Cindy. Now I was talking to during Police Week, and found out that it's not only one therapy dog, they've got two therapy dogs, and they're looking for a third therapy dog. However, the other thing that I was talking to you about was the horses, that they were planning on getting horses to patrol the streets again with officers. And they're going to put them in the Byward Market, and this summer for certain. They're just getting everything together, and they have a video out, which I'm going to put up a little later, on them introducing the police horses back to the streets again of Ottawa. And I think this is a great idea. And I think a lot of this came out because during the convoy, when we had such a mess down here on the streets, and we all felt it, including me, just how bad it was down here, and the chaos that was caused down here by the convoy at the time, that when all the police departments got together to patrol the streets here, they also brought in the police horses that they have from Toronto. And that was nice to see on the streets as well. And I think it was from that experience that Ottawa now realized that it would be a good idea to bring the horses back and have them as crowd control, because they're very good for crowd control. And I think it's wonderful that we have those horses. I mean, as my grandfather, the blacksmith, said, well, you wouldn't want to get your foot stepped on by a horse, that's for sure. If the horse is pushing back, you're going to go back because you're not going to want to get stepped on. So it's a less violent way. It's showing authority, certainly, pushing you back, but it's a much less violent way. No shots are fired. There's no tasers or anything like that. It's just move back. If you don't want to move, we can move you very nicely without extreme force at that point, hopefully. Now, we did have someone that fell underneath a horse. Well, that was one of the things when we used horses many years ago, that people realized you have to move. A horse is going to just walk right over you if you don't move. And when you're a farmer and that, and people have to come to realize that now again, because we're in the city. We're not around farm animals like we used to be many years ago. So I just wanted to bring that up as well. But the Toronto Police have shown that it's very effective in crowd control. And I do know that it was back we gave them up years ago, the horses, because we had our officers for many years just on the beat, not enough cars for them, but they were on the beat, plus the cars. And so they tried to get back in the public with the bicycles and that. But there's more that's needed right now, because unfortunately, people are at that point where they don't even respect authority anymore. And this is one of the big problems that we have when you look at life skills. That was what our parents taught, was respect. And that's not being taught anymore. So we wouldn't have the crime rate we have and the things that are going on today if there was more respect between people and animals, for certain. So I just wanted to bring up that again on respect. I know I brought it up before as well. But I know back in the 80s, former police chief Tom Flanagan brought the horses back to Ottawa on the streets for a couple of years. And they were a great favorite. Children would come up with them. There would be conversations with people. They were a wonderful way of integrating and communicating back and forth with the public as well. They were in a sense a novelty. But children got that chance of seeing a horse, which in most cases they wouldn't, because they don't have access to farms anymore. Like I was fortunate enough, my parents had friends who had farms, so I had that experience. So it's kind of like having a a four-footed petting zoo at the same time in a way, but it's a good one because it stimulates conversations with people and it relaxes people, and it's great therapy, not only for the officers that look after the horses and are riding the horses. It's a great way for them to communicate with people on the streets and that, and find out what's going on. And a great way for children to come up, as I was saying. And the other thing is that, again, I just mentioned briefly there that my grandfather was a blacksmith. And he was born in the 18-something, I'm not sure exactly, but I know he was died at 89 in the early 60s. So I know the wonderful things that my grandfather would tell me about the police horses, because back in those days as a blacksmith, of course, during the World War II and I, they had the horses as well, which he used to shoe, not just the farmers' horses or the race horses or the jumping horses, which he did as well, I'm well aware of. But he also was talking about how when he first started as a blacksmith, how he used to shoe the horses for the Royal Northwest Mounted Police at the time. And then as they developed into the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, he was, I think that was probably back in the 1920s at least, if not a little before, a little bit after, something like that. I can't remember the exact date. But then again, shoeing the horses for them. And I just want to share a cute little thing that he told me about shoeing the horses for the RCMP at the time. He said this is back when, between the Northwest Mounted Police and the RCMP, when back in those days they used to patrol large stretches of ground, not just the city, but they'd have to do the countryside as well. So they used to have blanket rolls on the back, but just behind where the rider would sit. And he was telling me about how he was walking down the sidewalk, and I guess he said, well, I picked up this blanket roll. It sounds like it fell off the horse. So I didn't know who it belonged to, so he kept it. So we had this blanket roll for many, many years, and I remember my dad using it when he put the heater on the outside for the car. He used to put this old blanket that the RCMP, or the Northwest Mounted Police, would use from the blanket roll over the hood of the car with a big hole in it. And I remember just feeling the material on that. And then I looked, and when you look at some of the World War II and I, the kind of uniforms, that they're kind of scratchy. And I don't know how they could be comfortable in them, because they certainly didn't have the comfortable uniforms that we have the privilege of having today. So it was very scratchy. And I remember feeling it and wondering, how do you sleep in something that scratchy? So I just wanted to give you a little update on that, and a little bit of a history lesson as well of growing up. The wonderful part about being able to grow up in a free country and enjoying all the different little facts and things that happen in a country, that make a country. And this is all part of our history, making a country. And that's why we are a sovereign country today, and that's why we do not intend to become the 51st state. So I just wanted to bring this into perspective, and I think it's just realizing the value of the contributions over the century of animals, from farm animals to the present and the future, and what's everything going to look like. In the present, we're coming back to realizing the importance of having our animals to walk with us and help us in so many different ways. And I can go on and on. I mean, bomb sniffing dogs, for example, drug sniffing dogs. We have the horses that we have, our therapy horses. They're great for children with handicaps and mental illness. And this is one of the things I just wanted to mention, that I would think it would be really great for those counselors who are doing the addictions to have a therapy dog in the session with the person who's recovering from addictions. I think it would relax the person and make things a lot easier for them. Because before I drop off, I want to just go on to another little story of another homeless person that was on the street. And I was walking down the sidewalk, and she kind of stopped. She was looking at me, and I had Heidi with me, my service dog. And she was looking at me, and it was like, is she coming up to ask me for money? It's just, but her body language was kind of all off, and I was trying to figure out what is she doing, and I'm very careful about it. And as I passed her, she looked at me and said, "Please, miss, can I pat your dog?" And for some reason, I knew I had to stop there because she just burst into tears, and I couldn't understand why she just burst into tears. And then she said, "Oh," and I said, "All right." And as she was patting my dog, she was going, "Oh, thank you so much for letting me pat your dog. I just had to put my dog down to sleep a week ago." And here, that was a way. I just helped a person, a homeless person that had a dog, because this is one of the things that even my service dog trainer and I've talked about in the past, and possibility of, because there are homeless people that do have animals as well, that don't know how to take care of them properly, and she would like to see some kind of a program of interaction with the therapy dogs as well as the service dogs as well. So there's many different ways that we can help people, and these animals are there, and that's just one of the ways I discovered that I actually helped this young woman, because anyone who's had a pet, loved their pets, knows what the grieving process is like. It's a member of the family that you lose. And she just felt like she lost the most important thing probably in her life, was her dog. And I was happy that Heidi was able to help ease that a little bit. And she went away with a smile, and she wiped away her tears, and she just kept saying, thank you so much for letting me pat your dog. You don't know how much it means." And that's how much it meant. So sometimes it's just the very little things that we do in life that help. So despite all the bad things that we're seeing, there's still a lot of good things. And that's the one thing about animals. They bring the good out in us. So I'm going to leave it there for everyone today. So please think about that. How do we bring the good things out in people, not the bad things? If we can turn things around, even no matter how small, that is probably one of the most important things that we can do to help our society, is to help bring out the good things. So I'm going to leave it there, everyone, today. Have a great day. Be safe. Watch your surroundings. And we'll talk again soon. And bye-bye.